Kia ora, welcome along to the League in Order podcast. Tony Kemp, who's joining us out of his home with the lovely painting in the background, and Lavina, who's, are you still in Queenstown?
Mate, I'm still in Queenstown, still shredding the slopes and the Remarkables and Coronet Peak as often as I possibly can. And I still have a very sore ass, mate. Sore bum.
Sore wallet too?
Cut it out.
We don't
want to know about what you do after skiing.
And yeah, an empty wallet. The wallet's empty. As soon as you step off the plane, it goes, and you check your visa statement and like, what? What's happened there?
But the memories, priceless, those family holidays on the slopes.
Yeah. We only use the crap out of each other every now and then.
What a crazy week of rugby league, including a Warriors team that lost a game that it shouldn't have lost. And after scoring, what was it? I can't remember what the stats was. They scored 14 points in the first 9 minutes and then just 12 points in the first 9 and then took their foot off the pedal. Or didn't even just... Can we just start with the Warriors and then we'll move through a couple other topics? But what happened? I'm going to be honest with you. They weren't paying great money at the start of the game, so I held off. And then I decided to chuck a bet on just as it started to close up. And so I've got extra salt in the wound right now because I lost some money on the game. But it just seemed like they tried too hard. When you've got two hookers, when you've got two players who both try and barge over and they don't get the ball down and things aren't going well, they looked like they were trying too hard for points and then the points didn't come. And just like what is so apparent in this new rugby league era, people can just get up and the momentum starts swinging and all of a sudden you're behind and then you lose the game.
I was really frustrated watching that game, and not because of the bunker decision on Hetherington. I mean, I really thought I actually thought he was going for the ball. I know Tony's going to talk about the bunker later, but I actually thought he was going for the ball, and that should have been a try awarded to the Warriors. And I just don't get these bunker decisions sometimes because when I saw the replay at all different angles, I mean, I'm not one of the 3 video referees that have been trained. Only 3 video referees. That's why they can't sack them and bring in someone new because there's no one to replace them. I'm willing to be trained. I'm up for that. But when I saw the 3 different angles on television, it was obvious to me he was going for the ball. He didn't try and impede someone so that they couldn't get the ball, and he scored a try. So I was frustrated by that. And then I was frustrated by the quality of rugby league in the second 40 minutes from both the Titans and also the Warriors. So they came out charging and fighting and looked good for that first 20. But the area of concern for me, and I'm not going to blame the bunker for losing the game for the Warriors, I'm going to have to blame the captain and the best player in the team. Because when you've got your skipper with 10 minutes to go that tries to offload and, gives away an intercept pass and surrenders possession to the opposition, and then a few minutes later, he's, just under his goal line and he misses a chip kick where he was under no pressure whatsoever from the opposition. This is the best player in the Warriors team. You've got the best player and the leader of the Warriors that give away possession through a pass, a dodgy pass he didn't have to give, and then drops the ball. I'm not going to say they're losing games because of their captain, but that game against the Titans wasn't a bunker issue for me. When your captain makes mistakes like that, the whole team make mistakes. And I was frustrated by the quality of rugby league that was given to me by both those teams in the second 40.
Isn't it funny, Old Roger Tuivasa-Sheck has been the best player since, well, who do we reckon who can you compare him to?
Tedesco.
Well, I mean, at the Warriors, probably since Brent Webb at fullback, you know what I mean? Brent Webb was pretty good at fullback, wasn't he? So,
better.
Let's just touch on the Roger Tuivasa-Sheck thing. I blame the coaches for that mistake that Roger made. If you look at every carry that Roger makes, he's always promoting the ball and pulling it back and not offloading it. I think what that says to me is that Roger actually wants to play a bit of football, but he's been held back. And yes, he did offload that ball, and yes, he did drop that ball that led to the try that got them back in front, but he ain't the reason why they lost. It's subjective, really subjective conversation. The stuff about the bunker, they want to blame the bunker about the halfback getting to the ball and the lone player getting over the top of them. I don't even know both of their names, but it was a try. It was a try, and the bunker did get it wrong. But it's really subjective because if you look at what Mark started with, 12 points in the first 9 minutes, they should have buried them by half time. They only completed 7 sets of 6. in the first half of Gold Coast. So by half-time, the game should have been over. It was 12-0 after 9 minutes. They never scored another point throughout the game. And yes, you're right. If you don't get away with the current rules at the moment, well, you're going to let teams back into the game. And that's exactly what the Gold Coast showed. They showed determination, grit, and a bit of courage. And I thought by losing their halfback, Ash Taylor, was the best thing that happened to them in the last 10 minutes, because he is garbage on $1 million. You know what I mean? He'll never pick up another club, and he probably won't finish the season at halfback for the Gold Coast Titans. And as soon as they changed that, they moved their halves around, they looked a way better side without him on the football field. So, it's unfortunate that the Warriors didn't win the game. I seriously blame Ashford for it. He last week he hooted him when he hooted him for me when he said they're going to finish in the 8.
Let's blame Ace.
That's why.
Man, you know why he's not on here today, because he has to own up to it. Like, own up to it, Ace. You came up with that silly call last week saying that they're just about to get on a roll, and I said on the podcast, I said, mate, that's the hoodoo. That was it. As soon as someone says they're going to get on a roll, right? Well, we all should have went to the TAB and pumped the Gold Coast, shouldn't we?
Hang on a sec. What's the story here? Like, the common theme that we've had with wins with the Warriors, and this isn't media driven either, but it is something we can all take note on, is that for some reason there are teams they should be putting away by large margins where they're not. They get out to a lead, and for some reason, whether it's killer instinct or whether they just don't follow through with the way they have been playing in the first part to get to that lead. What is that in a team, Tones? What's stopping them from putting up a big score when they're up early?
If you go back to that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, I think a residue of the Stephen Kearney style of coaching, the Melbourne style, where they want a complete sets of 6 and not throw caution to the wind, is one of the issues that we have in this competition. If you look at the top teams that are playing, Penrith, Parramatta, let's have a look at Parramatta and how they scored that last try on the weekend with Cuthbertson. There's a quick tap, gets down the sideline, passes to Sebo, goes over in the corner. End of story, that's the game. That said to me, like, I looked at it, I watched the replay over and over, and I thought, man, that kid's playing backyard footy. He has been given the rein by his coach to do what he sees in front of him. The issue that I see with the Warriors is that they can play footy, mate. You've got blokes on the side, big Polynesian boys that can offload and play football, but they're being told not to play football. They're being told to play percentages, and metrics have taken over sensible football skill that is holding them back. You have a look at Roger when he goes into contact. Every time he's promoting the football, if you had a post-line runner and support with there, if the ball was on, you'd say, mate, just give it. Let's pick up the extra 10 metres, or let's pick up that opportunity. And for me, I think that's why they can't put teams away. I think they're afraid. They're afraid to look at the metrics at the end of the game, the statistics, and they're all on the wrong side of the ledger. You know what I mean? Parramatta don't care. Penrith don't care. And Sydney City definitely don't care. Look at how they're forward. Sarah goes to the line and has a post line runner on the outside of him in the big back row, and then goes through the line because it's a one-on-one tackler, and there's no one on the outside there to tackle the second row and gets a free run at the post. That's just football, mate. That's what the Warriors aren't doing from my perspective.
I've got a way for Warriors fans to make a whole lot of money, and I'm going to give a tip to thousands of our listeners all around the world, Mark, and let them know. It's pretty easy. Just bet on the Warriors, because over the decade and a half that I've been following them intently and intensely, I've realised the Warriors will win the games that you don't expect them to win, and they will lose the games that you expect them to win. It's an easy philosophy, and whether or not that's on the back or residue of a coach or culture, or just the fact that the pressure that's on them, a lot of the time you're not expecting them to win a game. They can come out and get a victory, and when you expect them to win, like I did against the Titans at the weekend, and they should have won, they didn't. And what's evident for me this year, and Tony Kemp mentioned it in our first ever podcast, it's the teams with the hookers that are taking advantage of the new rules and the territory that they gain that are the best teams in the competition. And at the moment, I'm not sure from that dummy half position whether or not the Warriors are making enough yardage at the moment. And I'm happy with them being flamboyant, and I like them chancing their arm, and I'm really pleased with all that. But when I look at those teams that you're talking about at the top of the table that are the best in the competition at the moment, it's because you've got those Api Korosaus, or you've got those Cooks, or you've got those players that are making so much yardage when as soon as they pick up the ball, ball, that immediately the defence is on the back foot and they're being questioned. And I mean, you know, that's exactly what happened with Gutherson at the weekend. He took the tap. No one was ready for it. It was quick. Personally, I thought it was a forward pass, only by 1.5 meters, but hey, the Eels beat your Knights, mate, so it doesn't matter so much. It doesn't matter so much. But that's the sort of urgency. We need an urgency from the Warriors. We need to be hungry for the 80 minutes of the game, not just for the first 18 minutes of the game, because I'm getting that for the first 18 minutes, and it's not a fitness or conditioning thing, but after that, that sense of urgency is lost because those dummy runners are not making any yards.
And look, I probably could name every hooker that played for the Warriors, but I can't remember our hooker's name. It's Egan. Egan, yeah, there you go. I can remember his name, but you know, if you want to take it back to a ripple effect of the Warriors losing the game, when he tried to milk that penalty, I looked at the TV and sitting next to my partner, and I said, that has to be the dumbest play of a hooker in the last 2 years. Yeah. You know, and when you hear the referee on the mic saying, you know, you're not allowed to milk penalties, it's like, mate, I would have had the big, you know, those big sticks that you have in those comedy skits with a
poker, a big poker.
I would have just gone, get out here, mate. What are you doing? Because that was a critical part of the game when they were on attack and they should have been really driving home that opportunity to win. And he goes and does that. It's like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
I don't know about the refs. The refs didn't make a lot of great calls in that game. There were 3 or 4 times I thought penalty Warriors, penalty Warriors, penalty Warriors. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not one that goes, we didn't get any penalties, that's why we lost. But when you're midway through the second half and the arm hasn't headed towards the Warriors at all, not for an offside, for an infringement or anything, I'm like, there were 3 or 4 times the Warriors should have had possession with a 6 again or a penalty. And it didn't seem to go their way on that night. Nothing seemed to go their way in the second half of that game. It frustrated
went their way in the first 9 minutes, and you did right. The no penalty call is a big call in today's game, especially at the pace that it's being played at. So to say that we haven't earned a penalty, that guy's sitting in second grade for the next 10 weeks, I reckon. I see he was on the sideline on Sunday, licking his wound. So it's such a at that end of the table too. It's such a battle because teams that are not winning games get themselves up against the teams that they know are right around them. And I just saw the Gold Coast, you know, as the game was getting on, and you know, I had my girl and me next to me going, they're going to get them, and I'm going, no, man, the Warriors are the best team on the pitch. They should win this game.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I was really disappointed in the loss.
I did think that, but never at any stage did I think I needed a farmer's crook to try and pull Wade Egan off by the neck. Come here, boy. I love that.
Farmer's
that's
crook,
old
that's
school.
what it is. Come here, boy.
Tony's going back. Let's move forward then a little to the idea that the bunker was once again our worst enemy. And Kemp, you had some thoughts on the bunker in general.
Oh, get rid of them. 100%. Honestly, what a waste of money. You know what I mean? We're talking millions of dollars. You know, they go up to America and they have a look at the bunker system in America, and they still get it wrong because and we spoke about this last week, Mark. You know, and Ace was totally against it, and I've got evidence on my phone about Ace coming in and saying, "Oh, maybe we should go to a coach's challenge." Because I'll tell you right now, if a coach goes down to the Warriors game and talks to the referee about the play for the halfback at the ball and the attacking player just has to try and tackle him because he's going for the ball, and then goes for the ball afterwards, it's a try, mate. It's a dead set try. So I just think it's a waste. If you're not going to use it properly, it's a waste of money. Get rid of it.
But what are you saying? Go back to video referee? Are you saying no bunker, video referee?
Go back to video referee. Make the call, and give some autonomy back to the referees on the football field to make a call. Because you know the worst thing about this is that it wasn't 5 players getting called around a football. It was a referee standing next to the attacking player and the defending player. He was standing right beside them. He watched the play in full motion and then saw it and decided to go upstairs. Now that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Make a call. You are getting paid enough money in the middle of the park to make a call. Don't shoot your duties and go, oh shit, I'm shitting my pants here. If I make the wrong call, I'm going to get you make the wrong call, because who's copping it? The bunker's copping it, aren't they? You know, you should really take it right back to the guy in the middle. He was there. There was no one around. It was clear as day. If you're running, he can make 89 other calls in and around the ruck when players getting tackled. He can't make the crucial call.
Yeah.
I just think it's.
Where's my farmer's crook? Get the referee as well as Wade.
Well, you got the Raiders. They had 2 tries to Saleo, you know, and then you've got
terrible. That was terrible. That was really bad. I thought the Raiders Melbourne Storm one was really bad because Bailey Simpson not only was penalised but got sent off for 10 minutes as well. They lose him for 10 minutes.
And we're talking about that. We're talking about players getting sent off for 10 minutes. Like Reynolds had a kick at the ball and accidentally kicks Graham in the head. You know what I mean? But Latrell Mitchell gets up and gives him a smack around the chops, and Reynolds gets sent to the sin bin. You know what I mean? It's just like, what are you guys thinking? Seriously, I'm sitting there watching the TV going, the guys sitting in the bunker, what are they thinking? Like, is someone standing next to them with, like, you know, those things the battery things that you put on the car to jumpstart your battery, and got them on there, you know, ready to go and turn them on if you get the decision wrong. You know, it's like, hey, these guys are just, you know, I reckon, Lavina, you could work in the bunker because they're gumboots up there.
Yeah, I just don't understand how come they've only got 3 people in the whole, you know, Southern Hemisphere that can operate that system. I mean, they've invested a whole lot of money into it to go overseas, and obviously they need a revision system. They need a video revision system. I just don't know if the bunker seems to be working, because a couple of those errors that they made just this round alone, just this weekend alone, cost teams points. And it costs them points on the competition table, which will come back to haunt them in another 12 weeks' time. So I don't know if the bunker's working so well. They certainly do need a revision system. But you've got to have more than 3 people that are trained in that system. Because when they do a shit job like they did this weekend, you need to get the sack. You need to go. You haven't performed good enough and you're costing team points. You're out. We'll bring in someone new that has been trained and knows how to use the system.
Why don't we just get a robot and put them in the middle of the park and make the bunkers making all the calls? Because that's what's happening.
Yeah, at the moment. Because there's no accountability to the referee, because the referee goes upstairs for everything.
No accountability. And I think you need to give the accountability back to the referees and back them. That's when our game was at its best. You know, I like the one referee. I really like the one referee. But what I don't like is that they got no balls. Like, grow up here, fellas. You know, make decisions. You know, if you're going to sit in second grade because you haven't made a decision, I bet your people are going to be a hell of a lot happier that you made it.
Yeah,
I like the one referee system as well, Tony. I wasn't too sure whether or not that was just a post-COVID decision or a cost-making decision. But when 2 referees were first injected into the game, I found there were too many whistleblowers, too many guys, not so much girls, but girls now trying to assert their authority on the game. And it frustrated me. So when we've gone back to the one referee system, I was really pleased. And I don't think it's hurt the game at all. I think that's much better. But I'm a big fan of those referees being responsible for their own actions. And they've paid the money. And as you say, they're there witnessing the tries at that stage. You know, if you're going to go to the bunker and then everyone see what mistakes or right and stuff you make, like you say, make the bunker decide on everything. And maybe you don't need a whistleblower out there. Maybe it'll all come down to video decision, because at the moment, no one seems to be getting it right, and it's costing teams points. In another 10 weeks, this, you know, it'll be really detrimental to both the Raiders and also to the Warriors as to what's going to happen from those decisions.
Just finally on that. The biggest problem that they've got with a bunker is they slow it down. You know what I mean? In real time, it's a try. You know, and if you slow something down slow enough on a, you know, there used to be those jog wheels. Remember, you used to have the little slow it right down. You know, if you slow it down, you're going to see separation of footballs. You're going to see hands get in there. You're going to see all sorts of stuff happen. It's like when they go to the bunker, it's like, are they going to give the try? What are they going to find not to give it? And I just think it's totally wrong. You know, if you've spent millions of dollars to say that about our game, I think that's probably taken away the brand of football that people want to watch. Like, people don't want to see the bunker there. For the bunker to be in the spotlight at the moment is the wrong branding of the football game. It should be about what the one referee and the cleaning up of the ruck has done and how good the football is. But every week we're talking about the bunker. Every week we're talking about the referee.
And it slows the game down. I mean, we've got this new rule now where, you know, we're not having penalties. We're doing 6 again, and we're saving 20 minutes of rugby league a game, and everyone loves it because it's fast. Every time you go to the bunker, and when, like Mark, like what you said, they're backing up, and it's like, we haven't even got to the try put down. We're going back to the initial tackle. And it's like, get past that. Just see if the kid puts the ball hand on the try and scores, and award it to the Warriors. You know, his first try in the NRL, and worth celebrating, because he didn't take anyone out. Actually, he just tried to make a tackle is all he tried to do.
What if there is no slow-mo replay allowed from the bunker? if anything they do and rule on has to be done in real time. That's just a start. It's just one little thing we might be able to do to clear things up. And there's one play you're focused on. Don't rewind it back and go further back 6, 7 plays just to make sure everything was clean. Like, you've got one thing to decide on, and you're not allowed to watch it in slow.
So the referee says, I don't want to look at the tackle. I'm happy with that. It wasn't infringement on the tackle. I want to see if the kid puts the ball down, and that's the referee's decision. Yep. I don't know if I could go with a no slow-mo. I don't know if I could go with that. And I'm breaking Tony's heart here. I know I can see him. He's crying. We're going to cut to him soon. He's crying. But I do like to be able to see sometimes the clarity as to whether or not there is that separation or not. Because there's been plenty of tries scored in the past where there's been knock on, and it's pissed me off, and it's happened in State of Origin, and it's frustrated the hell out of me. Cost New South Wales a title. Yeah, no, I like to see it slow-mo sometimes when those cane toads stuff everything up.
Well, here's the thing. We're only looking for little changes, right? They're not going to throw the bunker out straight away. So we just do 2 subtle little changes. One, you only get to watch it twice. Sorry, bunker. Make your decision. You're just human, just like all of us. You're going to make it, a result that you've only got 2 watches of it, and has to be in real time. That's our little wee changes we're making for week. What are we up to? Week 10 for the NRL. That's as easy as we're going to make it. Because
it's so bad for the economics, I just think it's a waste of money. Like, put the money back into the clubs. Yeah, you could probably run a junior competition in New Zealand for that. Give it back to the video referee.
Yeah.
And make and then give the referees the opportunity to make the call. And then if they go up and say, yeah, I think it's a try, have a look at it in real time. If it's an actual try, don't look at anything else.
Go back to the ref on the field. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, look at it twice, give your opinion, and then go back to the ref on the field, and the ref can say, I've seen it in real time, I've seen the video referee, I've had his opinion. In my eyes, he scores the try. And the accountability is back on him, the whistleblower that gets paid the most amount of money to ref the game.
Hey, we don't want to Todd Miller our referees, though. We don't want to put too much pressure on them.
He's looking for a job. Todd's looking for a job.
All right, let's move forward because we've been stuck on the referees, the bunkers, and the Warriors for some time. I know that you were particularly passionate about Daly Cherry Evans not stepping up, Lavina, for the Manly.
I know Manly fans. I'm very close to some very passionate Manly fans, and I've got to be brutally honest with them. Their captain, and also the captain of Queensland, is having an absolute shocker. And there's no way he can say, oh, we lost Tommy Turbo and we're a worse team for it. When you lose a player like Tommy Trbojevic, your skipper needs to not make mistakes and stand up and also lead his team forward. And the only thing Daly Cherry Evans has done in the past couple of weeks or 3 weeks, and I'm not talking about losing games, I'm talking about persistent mistakes, errors, judgment on kicks, no attacking flair on that man's kicks whatsoever. So he's giving the ball back to the opposition. His players have no idea where it's going to go. He's missing kicks in front. His communication after the game isn't justifying it by saying to reporters, oh, sometimes teams have bad games. You had a shit game, Daly Cherry Evans, and you were responsible for your team losing. And ever since you lost your little boyfriend, Tommy, you haven't been pleased out on the pitch. And it's time you put your hand up and say, unless I start playing better, I should be benched. Do to me what you did to Benji, because I don't deserve to be out here at the moment. And it's really frustrating me that he hasn't been honest enough to take responsibility for his own actions, which is very poor rugby league. So let's see how he goes in the next round, and no longer looking, I like Tom, I want Tom back. I need Tom to be a great player. Bad luck, buddy. Improve your game of rugby league and make your Manly fans proud of your team again. Because everyone was touting you to get in the top 8. Oh, they're the dark horse. They're going to get in the top 8. They're the dark horse. But Tom's gone. But we can't play without Tom. Play a better game, Daly. Play a better game. That's my rant.
He is a fantastic player though, Turbo at the back, and I guess that what's missing from Manly is the amount of work that Tom actually does. You know what I mean, by getting into that. The biggest change for me this year has been the ruck. You know, if you look at Cuthbertson and the way that he plays around the ruck, and how many times he goes to dummy half, how many times he decides to run and bring players on. You look at Tom Trbojevic and the way he does that when he goes to the ruck. You know, he gets in the dummy half. He runs one off the ruck after a quick play the ball. And Teddy Tedesco does the same thing. The fullbacks that are equipped to go with the speed of the game and recognise footballing opportunities are sorely missed when they're not on the paddock. When Tedesco's off, they go all right, Sydney City, but they're not the same. When Trbojevic is off, Manly are done. I'm telling you now, if Trbojevic doesn't play, they won't make the 8 because they can't be consistently winning games week in, week out when he's in. But the same goes for a lot of good fullbacks in our competition. I think if that is probably the marquee position in the NRL at the moment. You got a really good number one. I mean, like a bloke that can lead. He shows good leadership. He shows really good decisions around carrying 250, 300 metres a game. You go a long way to being in the top 4. You know, and Tom Trbojevic not playing for Manly. Jerry Evans, he should be donating some of that $10 million that he got off Manly back to the club. Because
give it to the Titans. Give it to the Titans, mate.
I've heard it.
So they can buy Fafita.
Yeah. All right. The news out during the week that Craig Bellamy, the Bellyache, is no longer the favoured coach of the players, not voted in. What do we think about that? Was it Trent Robinson that picked up the...
Yeah, the Roosters coach. I was surprised at first because it's all hail Craig, and you know he won last year when it came to the players' votes. But I had a look at Trent Robinson's history, and the 7 years that he's been with that club, he's transformed it, not just because he's transforming it on the pitch, but he has such depth coming through, and his recruitment policy is so strong that he can get so many young players to come through and want to be part of that club. And in the decade, 7 years he's been there, he's had 3 premierships, 3 minor premierships, won the Challenge World Cup over and over and over again. And the only blight on his resume is that incident in 2016 where his star halfback, one of Tony Kemp's favourite players, Mitchell Pearce, had indiscretions on Australia Day, and that's when the Roosters finished 15th. So apart from that little, blip on his career, Robinson has actually transformed that club to allow himself to be not just one of the best coaches in the competition, but to be voted by the players as the best coach in the competition. And he demands respect from his players. He's not afraid to wield the sword. And he's backed by a recruitment team that will get him any player that he wants and a shitload of money. And money can buy anything in rugby league. I don't care what you say. Money can buy anything in rugby league. And
money talks.
I think if money talks, mate, and I'm not surprised that he has been voted not just on results but also attitude. I think you don't hear too many players saying bad words about the Roosters coach, even players that have left the club and gone somewhere else. You don't hear too many players bagging that coach out. He deserves that top of the rank table, I think. Well done to him.
Well, I thought Dean Pay should have been in the mix, to be honest.
He's gone today. He's gone. Apparently, he won't coach another game for the Bulldogs. I'll pay.
Oh, it's just a brutal game, isn't it? Eh? There's two gone already, and I reckon there's another 2 to follow soon. But when you get those, when you get prize giving when you're a kid, and you get those cups, and it's like most improved, and on the back of it you've got shit. Who's that guy? His name's on it so many times. I'm pretty sure Bellyache doesn't mind giving it up once in 20 years. You know what I mean? So Trent, Bellyache, Trent Robinson, Bellyache. He's probably like, oh shit. Okay, well, I get a chance to breathe. Bellyache's still the best coach running around for me. There's one thing that those two have got in common. All right, News Limited with plenty of money own Melbourne, and Nick Politis runs the game of rugby league in Sydney. All right, and they have been able to purchase arguably 3 immortals for. I think 3 immortals for Melbourne and 2 in waiting in Munster and Peppenhausen. And I think at Sydney City, he just gets what he wants, Nick Politis. And that, if you've got a coach walking into those two structures, you've got nothing but success written all over it. So it's hats off to Trent Robinson. Yes, he's got all the lollies, and to be recognised and including 7 of his team in the NRL team pick, because there's nothing better than being voted into something from the players when they say these are the best players in these positions. So I think for them to get those accolades, Ace talked about it last week, and I'm of the same feeling. Sydney City are the team to beat.
Yeah.
They're looking at a hat trick, and it's theirs to lose. They've just got they pull a winger out of teaching in a school, and he goes and scores 5 tries, the first time in 500 years. You know what I mean? It's just the depth of that club. The way they can bring the Morris boys in, and both of them get picked by their peers as a centre and winger in the comp this year. That's why Trent Robinson's got the coach of the year. Imagine having that team with seven players in it, and Trent Robinson didn't get the coach. It'd be a joke.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. Yeah.
Totally.
And they can lose a player like Victor Radley, and it doesn't seem to have an effect on them. I mean, I think he was voted as the best enforcer or the best crunch defender in the competition, and they can lose a player like him. Well, yeah, can tackle. Lose a player like him with a knee injury. If you take Victor Radley out of the Warriors if he was playing for them, or out of the Bunnies if he was playing for them, or out of the Raiders, then that would be detrimental to that whole team and the whole club. The thing is about the Roosters, though, like we talk about them having lots of money and that recruitment policy, you've got general managers and CEOs and club owners that ring a kid that's 18 years of age, that's just signed up, ring him and ring his parents personally and say, really good to have him with the club. We love having him with the club. Thank you so much for deciding on us, and we'll look after him and we'll nurture him. You know, there's a lesson learned in that. There's a lesson learned in that club culture, to be with a team, to be with a club that wants to support and nurture you and shows respect to your family by including you in that environment. They're doing it all right, and their results are showing.
I kind of feel like it's all right on the backs of that they're winning. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
why they're winning.
Yeah, and it's that they go hand in hand, right? Doing it right and winning, and then winning makes it.
Well, you get in a role of this competition. You know what I mean? You go back and you have a look at the teams that win competitions. They generally get on a roll and they win. And they have a big winning streak, and that's why Parramatta are going to be there at the end of the year.
Yes,
they've done enough. They've done enough work to get through to the back end to beat Sydney City. Like we saw Sydney City already towel them up once this year. I'm not too sure that they can beat them, but
4 points. There's 4 points in that game, Kempy. But yeah,
I'll just having just to move on from that. I was just having a really sort of spend a bit of time thinking about if you were in the market at the moment to sign a player at the Warriors after looking at their side, who would that be? Look, I'd go, I think that you could build a club around this kid, and you've got to offer him the correct money. I know that the Warriors have had one shot at him before, but my inside knowledge is that they offered him $300K, which is an absolute joke. You're never going to pick him up for that. And you should be offering him at least, I'm talking $600 to $700 to get him here and start building a club around him. And that's the young boy playing in Melbourne that comes from Waiheke Island. I think to bring him home. Did you guys see him play on the weekend?
No, I missed the Melbourne game.
Yeah.
Mate,
yeah, I did.
I'll tell you what, just to have his energy in the club, you know what I mean? But the kid can play football. He can play hooker. And lead a
Brandon
team.
Smith, you're talking about?
Brandon Smith. He is not only that, but you're also looking for a skipper. You know what I mean? I think you take that and give that to him as well, and just start to build your team around him. And I spoke to an old recruitment, old recruitment guy that's no longer at the Warriors. Apparently they had a shot at him and they offered him $300K, which is ridiculous.
Not enough for him.
No, he gets 300K playing for Burleigh Bears.
If it wasn't for Cameron Smith, he'd be the run on hooker. He'd be the run on hooker it wasn't for the best hooker in the world. He's got a hot head though, eh? He got stood down for a little bit with the Kiwis, didn't he?
We need that. I reckon we need that, right? We need that money.
He's a kid and he's maturing, and I think young Grant from West Tigers, they've got him earmarked.
He's good, Harry Grant. He's good.
They've got him earmarked to be the hooker at Melbourne. I think you've got to jump back into the market. You know what I mean? You've got to bring him home. If you've got any chance of bringing someone home, it's a Kiwi. So, but offer him the deal of a lifetime.
Yeah, you know the right money.
Offer him the right money. That's
right. We're closing in. I like that. We're closing in at the end of the show because I do have to bounce. I just want to quickly talk about the Bulldogs duo winning their deregistration appeal. You mentioned Mitchell Pearce earlier, Lavina. How does that make everyone feel?
It makes me feel, as a mother of a 16-year-old daughter, not so good in terms of rugby league. You know, I have watched over the years a lot of people bring the game I love, and this is the greatest game of all. You know, Jack Gibson, God was in a good mood when he invented rugby league. I love that quote. It means so much to me, and I love the game and what it's done for me and my family more than anything. And over the years, so many players and people have brought my game into disrepute, and it pisses me off tremendously when it gives people an excuse who are teetering. It was a good game. It's great rugby league. Even though the Warriors aren't winning, the competition is amazing. where you have incidences where it just drops off. And I'm not just talking about players going to Bali and being rat bags that you expect in the off season. I'm talking about consistencies in the game. And I'm not going to blame this one on the media. I'm going to blame this one that the rugby league have an opportunity to say, we demand moral ethics from our players. And when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You're paid good money. And to do that, you can't do rat bag things because it's not good for the sport. And even though legally it's being said that nothing, there's no issues with what happened, this was an opportunity for the NRL to say, we don't want kids in our game performing like this. We don't want kids in our game involved in social media incidences like this. This is not what rugby league is about in this century. And I was really frustrated when I found out that happened. I don't think we want incidences like that happening, and I don't think we want it affiliated with rugby league. And if I had my chance, I would terminate contracts forever. And I don't give a shit how old they are and if it was going to destroy their career. As a mother of a 16-year-old daughter, I do not want young men like that representing my game as we move forward. Is this defamatory? Probably. I don't give a crap. I don't want them in the game. It's not a good look for me.
Oh, look, I don't think it's defamatory at all, Lavina. Look, it's you just get out there on those slopes today and you carve them up, girl.
Absolutely.
You get rid of some of that anger.
Spend that money.
You go shred some of them dollars in that snow and just send us some live shredding. I think what you're really talking about here is you're talking about NRL policy. The issue is about decision making. Yeah. When you break it right down, it's about decision making. One, the action to get themselves in trouble, but two, the decisions that are made to try and eradicate the issue and fix the problem. And you've got to go right back to the root cause of the problem. What is the root cause of the problem? Well, there is no policy. There is no punishment. And I'm not talking just about the two boys from Canterbury, but I'm talking about player agents. I'm talking about club CEOs. I'm talking about people that have manufactured a salary cap, and lifted up garage doors and there's a boat, or got the leagues club over there, the big blue and yellow leagues club, and lied about the amount of money that's come out of it. And of course, you've got this governing body that is just smacking wrists and allowing these people not just to walk out, but to come back into the game after serving, a pittance of I guess a sentence, if you were to say that. And for me, they've got no teeth. I've been saying it for years. The NRL are the issue. The NRL is the governing body, is the master franchisee, have no teeth. Yeah, we've got a player manager taking them to the High Court at the moment. He's been kicked out. We've got a recruitment manager in New Zealand that's been kicked out of 2 clubs recruiting for the Warriors. You know what I mean? We've got a recruitment manager sitting at City that got kicked out of Parramatta. We've got players being allowed back into the game. We've got CEOs at clubs that have run the clubs in the ground and been given another job at another club. It is about time that Volandis stepped up to the plate and took it by the balls and said, for Noah Blake, you talk like that to a referee or anyone in the NRL, here's a $20,000 fine.
Yeah, money talks, mate.
Story.
Find them with the pocket.
Don't worry about going to judiciary on Monday night.
Absolutely.
You're gone, $20,000. Let me give you an example as a measure of that. When they brought the $10,000 fine in for the coaches, what happened?
They all shut up.
Yeah. They were very cordial when it came to media sessions after games.
They all shut up.
Stop scooting around it. You know what I mean? Stop scooting around it. Set some criteria and some policy around. I've never seen it. You've never seen a criminal. It's not criminal behaviour. It is criminal behaviour from the NRL not to have a stringent policy to protect our game. That's what Lavina's talking about.
Exactly.
Protect the people in the game. It's not just the people playing the game, but protect the group. Protect your village.
Yeah, and the idea of there will be, the fringe fans, and we were talking about this earlier, the fringe fan who's sitting there watching them set this example, and it's they look at the NRL and they go, oh, yep, so they've deregistered them. Oh, hang on a sec, they've actually won their appeal to to remain registered. So those fringe fans are the ones that you're trying to keep on. You're always going to have those hearty ones, the hearty ones who turn up each week, the hearty ones who won't keep knowing. Anyway, we're going to have to move on. We're going to have to finish right here. I just want to thank Tony for bringing up a farmer's crook, a jumper's leads. That's what you start the car with.
And grab him by the balls.
Reel to reel. You talked about reel to reels with editing, and high school cups with people's names on it for many, many times. That was a great effort from you.
Keeping it real, brother. Keeping it real.
Always do. Always do. It's amazing watching where your mind will take us. Congratulations.
I just quickly before we go, I just wanted to say the highlight for me from the weekend had to be when I watched that lovely Charlie Staines from Forbes. I don't know if you boys have ever been to Forbes. I played softball in Forbes once, and that's a very small township in New South Wales. And
that's what
all his mates were there. After he scored the first try, waved at his mates, and the second try. By the time he scored the fourth try, they're all on the piss up the front, and they love him madly. And I know he got into trouble for having too many mates around at his house. But what a remarkable discovery that kid was, and didn't he play well? Wasn't it good to see his mates there from Forbes supporting him?
Awesome.
That made me feel so good for rugby league.
Totally. Good luck to the Eels taking on the Seagulls. They won't need much luck with that. If Daly Cherry...
Easy, mate. We'll chew them up. Just easy.
Warriors get the Sharks on Sunday, so Sean Johnson 2.0. Let's hope he has an off day. Hey, team, thank you so much. We'll talk next week.
Thank you.
Peace out.